Good morning. Woosa. Woosa. Hello, friends, and welcome to a sports talk radio show unlike any other. This is the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. My name is Rob Brown. The pleasure of being with you today is, of course, exclusively mine. Directly on the other side of the glass this morning, he is my colleague on the call today, live from the 18th. Lonzo Reitzel here as well. Lonzo, happy Masters Thursday to you. And of course, as always, welcome to the broadcast. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. I actually have the Masters theme, but it's outdated. So
What do you mean outdated? It's the same as, like outdated in the system. Sorry. What do you mean outdated? Oh, you mean outdated in the system. Because the Masters theme song, a theme song unlike any other, will never be outdated. It can't be improved upon. It can't be made better. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Augusta National. Welcome to the 2023 Masters Tournament. The answer is yes. I can do a full segment like this. The question, of course, is, should I? The answer to that question, of course, is absolutely not. But I might anyway. Is this a bad idea? Probably.
you missed your moment. You should have right in the middle in there, went full on ham. It just caused people to go like that and have to turn the radio down.
It's a classy day here on the show as we celebrate. Wait, what?
Hey, I've had that in there since the beginning of the station with a former host who used to do that all the time, the first host on the station. And apparently I didn't put a fade on the end. What can I say? You know how I didn't know it wasn't there? Because we never made it that far. So, I mean, it's usually faded before a manual fade before that moment.
Respect
so,
that. That's
yeah,
producer skills
I mean,
of the highest caliber.
Yeah.
Sorry. Producer skills of the highest caliber.
It's been in there for like 8 years, 9 years, however long the station's been. I forget. We've been here for a while.
Because the station, much like the Masters itself, is, of course,
all right.
Timeless.
I'm looking. I put it in 2014. Okay. So 9 years. It's been in there 9 years.
I'm good with everything.
Yeah, so no,
I'm not upset with how any of this is playing out so far.
So it was a mistake that apparently I made 9 years ago.
Dang it, 9 years ago, Lonzo. Get your life together. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Masters Thursday, the most prestigious and beloved tournament in all of golfdom. The Masters at Augusta National, taking place right down the road. And we are officially underway. An amateur, Matthew McLean, is out front right now. He is 1 under through 1, and as of right now, the only golfer currently sitting under par. Mike Weir is even through 3. Scott Stallings through 1. Taylor Gooch, Jason Kokrak are all even through 1. VJ out the gate, over 1 through 1. Same with Sandy Lyle. Kevin Na +2 through 3. Now, it's early. We've only got a handful of dudes out on the grass right now, out on the courts right now. I fully suspect that we are going to end up seeing some lower scores later in the afternoon. But I thought that, based on some reports I got from over there during the course of the week, I've had some friends and folks head over to Augusta and walk the course during the practice rounds, the par 3 competition yesterday. Speaking of Lonzo, I got to tell you, my favorite named golfer in the game right now is Seamus Powers. That's a great name.
I heard that mentioned on DA earlier, and it's like, yeah.
Seamus Powers is a great name. And he did something unbelievable yesterday at the par 3 competition, to the point that I picked him in my Masters pool because of what he did yesterday. On Wednesday, they have the par 3 competition. It is a combination par 3 event and skills challenge, right? You guys have seen the clips of the guys skipping the ball off the pond up onto the green and stuff like that. That all comes from the par 3 competition. I have been chasing the dragon of a hole-in-one my entire life. Well, as much of it as I have been golfing, which has been a lot of it. I've been golfing for a long time. I have been chasing that dragon my entire life. Every time I get onto a par 3, if you ask the dudes I'm rolling with, Rob Brown calls the hole-in-one. It is the one place in my life I remain optimistic. I'm like, this is it. This is the one. Because one's going to drop in my lifetime. I'm waiting for it. Yesterday, Seamus Powers, the Irishman. Lonzo, he hit a hole-in-one. And then on the very next hole, he hit another one. Back-to-back aces on back-to-back holes.
My guy hit 2 hole-in-ones?
Back-to-back. 2 swings of the stick, 2 dunks. Just like that. Now, the hole-in-one competition is kind of set up for this.
Did he win a car?
The guys playing the Masters don't need cars. They're fine.
You heard of Seamus before this? Seamus needs a car.
Old Seamus Powers. So the hole-in-one competition at Augusta National is set up for this, right? They go out there, they put the pin at the lowest part in the green so that no matter where you hit it on the green, the ball trickles back towards the hole. They want holes in one. It's entertaining. It's good TV. But it's still relatively rare. I think they had 4 of them yesterday. The majority of golfers at Augusta played all the par 3s yesterday. They had like 4 aces when the course was set up for aces. But Seamus Powers had 2 of them back-to-back. That's unbelievable, man. I don't know that I can describe how incredible that is.
Still not as good as the leader of North Korea, but, he's working on it.
Well, none of us can be Kim Jong-un, who goes out, shoots 18, and cards like a 36. That's incredible. That's incredible. We should invite him to the Masters one year. See how he does. Runs the field. Dan the Superfan Man says, has a back-to-back hole-in-one ever been documented before? I couldn't find one yesterday. There were a number of golf journalism sites that said they were unable to find verified, documented cases of back-to-back aces. But here's the thing. Has anybody ever done it before? I mean, no, probably not, right? Probably not. You'd have to play on a par 3 course, of which there's a bunch around the country. You'd have to play on a par 3 course and just get damn lucky. Can't imagine. Seamus Powers did it. And because old Seamus did it, yesterday, Rob Brown jumped into a pool where you select 6 golfers from 6 tiers, right? Anybody that has, I think, 10-1 or better odds, 25-1, 75-25, whatever.
Is there a mullet category?
There is not. But your boy Cam ditched the mullet. He has demulleted himself.
He's done poorly since, right?
Yes, he has. Well, we'll find out. So, here's the right. If you want to follow me, here's the Rob Brown Pulo players. All right. From the top tier group, I'm going Rory. I'm going Rory McIlroy. Rory has had a very good showing at the Masters. Remember last year, dunked a sand shot in on the 72nd hole that moved him all the way up to second. And had Scottie Scheffler not had the round of his life, Rory would have won the Masters last year. He's gotten very close multiple times. I like Rory McIlroy, knowing the pressure is on for him to beat the LIV Tour guys. If he does not beat the LIV Tour guys, then all the smack he's been talking since the Rebel League broke away, it just kind of looks bad. It just kind of looks bad. So he's got to go win this thing. I got Max Homa checking in second for no reason other than last night I was filling out the pool and one of the guys in the Reedy River Riot supporters club was like, pick Max Homa. I was like, why? He goes, just do it. So I did. Not who I wanted to pick, but at that point, it's like, it's a Masters. But it's like filling out a bracket. It's as much luck as it is anything else.
I was thinking about this earlier. I wanted to ask you, who is the best LIV golfer in the Masters?
Who's the best LIV Tour golfer in the Masters?
Because that's who I'm rooting to win the whole thing.
You're going LIV Tour guy.
Yeah, here's the reason why.
Really?
Because because it will just tear the chaos. You know, I'm all about the chaos and the anger and all the things it will cause.
Sergio Garcia's out there. He's a LIV Tour guy. He's got a jacket. Bryson DeChambeau's out there. Now, he's not the same Bryson he was a couple of years ago, but he's also saying he feels better than he's felt in a very long time. Columbia, South Carolina's own Dustin Johnson.
There we go.
Is a LIV Tour guy. He is going to be out there. Martin Keimer, I believe, is playing this year. Brooks Koepka, Florida State's own, is going to be out there this year, as is, actually, I don't think Chase made it. But Brooks is in.
All right.
Jason Kokrak is in. Phil Mickelson's obviously out there at 50.
So Kokrak, you just mentioned him earlier. Isn't he like on the leaderboard right now?
Well, he's only on the leaderboard because there's
the
only
first
like
round.
7 guys out there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm rooting for, there's some names in there who have a shot to actually win it. If they play like they did at one point when they were really, really good. So I'm rooting for the LIV guy. One of the LIV guys to win.
I am not.
And
I am not.
Here's what I hope. I hope the LIV guys finish 1, 2, 3.
I don't.
Just because of the anger that it will cause everywhere else, including in this room.
Yes.
And I just want to make everybody mad today because,
you know,
they've made me mad. So,
I'm not a fan of the LIV
Can you get past the thing? I mean, they're there, they exist. I get why you don't like the fact that where the money comes from, but the money's out there. Can't you get past that just to see the sheer chaos it will cause?
Yeah.
If one of those guys wins.
I am squarely team chaos most of the time, right? I am team chaos. I am always rooting in college football for the dogs to win, to screw up the playoff hunt. I am always team chaos, but there's just some spots that I can't.
Look at that exciting NCAA men's tournament.
Team chaos.
Yeah, that was chaos.
I was a big FAU guy. I hate everything about a Miami Hurricanes, so I couldn't pull for them. But big FAU guy. I love chaos. I just can't get on board with the Saudi breakaway league. I just can't do it. I don't like it. It's the source of it is gross. And that sucks because there are guys on the LIV Tour that I like. I have always been a Phil Mickelson guy. He's fun. He's affable. He has always been a fan's golfer. Phil's the dude that's been very well known for spending an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours after every round, signing autographs, taking pictures. He's always been a player's guy. Y'all know I love me some Bryson DeChambeau. I really wish Bryson would have turned out to be the way I thought he was going to turn out. When Bryson showed up and said, I'm going muscle mass and algebra, you nerds. when he decided, I'm going to do powerlifting and geometry to beat everybody, right? Started analyzing the game scientifically. I'm like, that's my guy. And then when he took all the crap for being a science nerd on the golf course, Lonzo, you might remember this from last year. Everybody started cracking on Bryson DeChambeau for deciding to go all, I was trying to come up with a Bill Nye the Science Guy reference here, but whatever, for becoming a science dork on the course. He showed up at the next tournament wearing a golf shirt that was covered in like algebraic equations and test tubes and beakers and Bunsen burners.
Yeah, I remember that. That was awesome.
It was amazing. Love Bryson DeChambeau. Big Sergio guy. Sergio's in my pool of players. DJ. I'm always pulling for DJ. Love DJ. Brooks. Love Brooks Koepka. Mark Leishman. I mean, these are all guys that I very much enjoy watching play. Ian Poulter's out there. Not Patrick Reed. Nobody likes you, Patrick Reed. You stop. You go away. I love some of the guys on the LIV Tour. Bubba Watson from Pensacola. Pensacola in the house. Put the ones up. I love some of these guys. I just can't get on board with the LIV Tour. So I'm a big Rory guy this weekend. Big Rory guy this weekend. Predominantly because Rory's been the voice of, screw those guys. They're not doing anything to help the game. They're not doing anything to help the game. They're going to tell you that they are, but all they're doing is taking a fat payday for less work. That's not growing the game. That's hurting it. And he's right. He's right. So he's on board with defending the PGA Tour. He's going to make a run at defending the PGA Tour in this Masters. So I got a number one player in my pool. I'm rolling the dice that Rory is going to be that dude in this tournament. We're going to cover the Masters for you over the next 2 days. I'll be doing some social media over the weekend about the Masters. I will keep the leaderboard pulled up for you. Only one guy. It's early. But only one guy under par out of the gate, and it is an amateur. Matthew McLean is 1 under through 2. Everybody else that's on the course right now is at the best even. VJ, Sandy, Lyle, both at +1. Kevin Na, 2 over through 4. So we'll be doing a lot of Masters over the next 2 days. If you don't like golf, sucks to be you. Because it's the best golf weekend in the game happening right now, right down the road at Augusta National Golf Course. Let's take a break. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to get into on the radio program today. Rashad Beard, unfortunately, will not be able to join us this week. He is traveling for work. He will make his return to us next Friday, and we will have plenty to catch up on. But
he's not going to Canada again, is he?
I don't know. He didn't tell me. He just said he's traveling for work. Top secret stuff. I'm not entirely convinced Rashad's not actually James Bond. But he'll join us next week. So, at 9:40, we'll do a Panther segment anyway, because I got a wheel of stuff to get to. And it's Thursday, and you know what that means. Fight Club! Lonzo still got hate in his heart from WrestleMania Sunday. Lonzo, let it out. Just let it out. He will at 11:20 with Fight Club. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. And the Fan Upstate, y'all.
You see?
All right, guys, got a live read. We will be right back.
SC Comic-Con is back and bigger than ever. April 15th and 16th at the Greenville Convention Center. Featured artists and stars like Chad Eastman,
By the way, I'm not in a different studio, Luke. I am in the mountains. That's where I am. I'm in the mountains. Bad part about this hides the flag. There we go. It only shows up if I do this. There, I'll just do this the entire time. Why not?
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you can learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos.
It's like they took that picture from my yard. It's awesome.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel.
By the way, that wasn't my Panther flag, and the person who owns it decided to take it from the room.
Unexpected charges. Just your business's big idea with smart spend controls, automation that crushes busy work, and real-time insights so you can make it happen. In other words, Ramp completely reimagined finance to make it work for your business. Get set up, issue corporate cards, and start making payments in less than 15 minutes. See how Ramp does finance. Join today and get $250 just for signing up. Just go to ramp.com/offer. That's ramp.com/offer to get $250 for signing up. That's ramp.com/offer.
Santa Dust. Saturday night games market at the Foundry and Jersey Mill in downtown Greenville. Santa Dust. Tickets on sale now at blindrocks.com.
Sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blind.
I'm changing your character to a druid just because of that picture.
It's taken from my house. Might as well be. It's the closest to home as I can find.
I tried to get us a remote at John Daly's Hooters branch in Augusta, but they turned that down for some reason. I don't know why. My boy Brandon, a back-to-back ace disc golf. Still impressive for the record.
Play 97 The Fan Upstate. On your HD radio at WFBC HD3. There's just one more thing. And on your computer at
TheFanUpstate.com.
More than the scores. Real sports talk for real sports fans.
The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Oh, ladies and gentlemen. There's a conversation going on in college football right now. It's a conversation that we have had on this show many times in the past. It's a conversation that is picking up steam nationwide, including now two of the best coaches in college football. Obviously, both big fans of the show, Dabo Swinney and Nick Saban. They are now both on board with something that I have been a proponent for like a hot minute. That is inter-squad spring games. Spring games, obviously, as they are set up right now in college football, are the orange versus the purple, or the garnet versus the black, or the blue versus the orange. It's your roster, cut down the middle, in half, playing against each other. Some teams do first versus second team. Some teams do it draft style. Some teams have the coaches pick squads. But it's all one squad. I have for a long, long time thought, why would we not do inter-squad spring games? It'd be better for everybody, right? Smaller schools can be brought in to play larger schools. Do you think that, for instance, Furman couldn't do with an extra paycheck for going up to Clemson? They get a spring game where they would play a very good team, but more importantly, it would allow your team to play as a team. You could even go so far as to say, hey, we're going to structure this thing. First half starters, second half reserves for both teams, right? We're going to give our starters a half. We're going to give our reserves a half. You could work into it some of the different rules that allow you to get work in, right? Starting in the second half, we're going to do every drive is going to have a special teams play, whatever, right? But it would also allow you to practice against somebody else. It would allow you to get different looks, to work your defense out against an offense that they haven't been going up against in spring training over and over and over. Yeah? I think it's a phenomenal concept. I think it's a phenomenal idea. I would absolutely go in that direction with it. Well, Dabo Swinney said, quote, I love it. I've said it a million times. I'd love to play somebody in the fall. We're the only level of football that doesn't get a chance to scrimmage somebody. It would be nice to bring somebody in and do some one-on-ones against somebody else. I've said that for years. Spring games, I guess there'd be some interest, but I'd rather have it in the fall, even if it's just being able to practice against somebody. Do some inside drill against somebody else. Do some one-on-one. Do some 7-on-7 like you do in high school. They go and work against each other, practice against each other, maybe have a day of camp embedded with somebody. I think that would be great. All we have is each other for 350 days. If everything's perfect in our world, you get 15 days to go play. So it's the 350 that makes the difference, and we've only got each other. That's all we've got. It'd be nice to have that opportunity somewhere on the calendar. So Dabo says, let's do it in the fall. Let's do a preseason camp and scrimmage game. Saban said he's in for it being a spring game, and now the smaller schools are talking about it as well. Trent Dilfer is the new head coach for the University of Alabama, Birmingham, the Blazers. Trent Dilfer, when asked if he would be willing to take UAB to Tuscaloosa or Opelika to take on Alabama or Auburn, his response was, and I quote, pretty please, end quote. Said it would be super useful for UAB, right? Alongside likely getting a check to head to Opelika or Tuscaloosa every year and get beat up on the spring like they do in out of conference in the fall. It would also give them an opportunity to kind of strengthen the iron a little bit against better competition in the spring to figure out where are we lacking, where can we get better, et cetera, et cetera. This is a conversation that's been going on for a hot minute, and now we are starting to hear high-level coaches at both levels, right? The highest level coaches up in the BCS, well, Power 5 level, the BCS level, up in the Power 5 level, and coaches from the smaller schools saying, hey, it's never going to hurt us to get more money in the bank, and it's going to give us the opportunity to really test where we stand in lower-level college football before we start playing for the smaller conference championships as well. I'm not shocked that the coaches went on board with this.
This will work. Here's what they're doing. They're softening the blow for what is to come, what they've been talking about for a while now, and that's the big schools no longer playing the smaller schools. I am curious if these inter-squad scrimmages if they're paying the teams less to come, because this way they pay them less, they're still getting some money out of it, and then when they stop playing them in the regular season, it softens the blow a little bit.
First off, I do think we are a ways off from that happening. I think there is the possibility way down the road, but as of right now, especially when the conferences are continuing to grow and you have the Southeastern Conference, for instance, discussing the possibility of leveling up the schedule by adding another conference game, guys like Saban aren't going to say, yeah, we'll go to a 9th conference game and then we'll use those 3 non-conference games and schedule Ohio State.
Yes,
they're never going to do that.
But playoffs are expanding. And so the higher level teams you play, the better it looks on you, especially if you get victories. And I think that if it comes down to, okay, these teams are pretty even, we're trying to figure out seeding or trying to figure out who gets that 12th spot. Yeah, but these guys, they played, South Carolina State and they played Elon, and these guys added another big game. So we're going to go with them.
So I'll start with,
I'm just saying this is a long game. This is just the beginning of something to soften the blow for when they stop playing these teams.
I don't think, not that it is nefarious, but I don't think it's nefarious. I do believe.
I don't think it's nefarious either. What I think is they're looking down the road and seeing how things are going to be. This way they make sure that and are they going to pay less? That's just business if you can get away with that. But at least the smaller teams still get money. Right now, they're going to get it from both if they do this, from the scrimmages and from the actual games. But when you phase out the actual games, they can't cry, yeah, but we need this money. You're still paying them. You're not paying them as much, but you're still paying them.
Well, I'll start with, we have already heard a number of authorities amongst the smaller schools say, if there ever is a breakaway and they're not invited to come play those $1 million paycheck games, they just won't be able to have an athletics department anymore.
Yeah, unless they're getting paid for scrimmages like this.
Maybe.
Because we don't know how much they're going to pay them. But if they pay them whatever the minimum is, and maybe a little bit more than that, to keep them afloat, then they've taken care of that. And then they've also taken care of their schedule looking better with better opponents.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And it is certainly a possibility that is accurate. And I'm interested to see if and how this does play out in the long game. But I am willing to, for now, accept what Dabo said, what Nick said, which is, I love how Dabo phrased it. You got 15 days out of 350 to go play somebody else. The other 350, you play each other. So what would be the harm for a day or 2 or 3 or 4? Maybe you do like listen, the NFL is doing it the way the NFL does it, with joint practices having become, over the last handful of years, more popular during the spring and fall camps, because it does help you when you line up against the same guy every day, right? If Lonzo's playing offensive tackle and I'm playing defensive end, I got a set of pass rush moves I'm going to use, right? Those are my go-tos. Lonzo is going to, intentionally or not, begin learning how to block my moves, not the league's moves, my moves. He's going to learn how to start blocking Rob Brown's A+ 5-star recruit pass rushing moves on the outside. The problem for that's going to be the first time Lonzo lines up against anybody else who has a different move set, right? So if you do it this way, at least you get one other crack at some variety, different stuff, to get out of that routine, to get out of that rhythm, to get out of that monotony of going against the same 1 or 2 defensive ends for 350 days, to then line up and do not that for the 15 days that it matters. I think Dabo's spot on. Just from a football perspective, I think this makes excellent sense. From a football perspective, it makes perfect sense. Now, is this small schools trying to get set up to take care of themselves because they are afraid they will get bumped from $1 million payday games down the line? Maybe. Again, I think we're years and years away from that happening, because I think until and unless we have a breakaway from the NCAA and the teams that break away form the mega conferences and are fully self-contained, I don't think you're gonna have that. You're still gonna have the Nick Sabans of the world. Actually, I shouldn't use Nick, because Nick's done a really good job of scheduling at least one powerhouse OOC. You're gonna have the Florida Gators of the world, who traditionally don't schedule anybody out of conference outside of FSU, and once in a blue moon Miami. You're not going to have Florida get rid of 3 OOC games against FAU, USF, and Alabama Birmingham. Because it gives them a tune-up game, and it knocks theoretically, knocks 3 losses off of the record, right? Those are 3 dubs right there. You got to pay $1 million for it. So I think if Lonzo's thought does come to fruition, which I'm not arguing that it could, I think it is a ways off, TBH. But I would be interested to see what conversations this generates. But Dabo and Nick are in. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute. It's Thursday. Ordinarily, we'd be joined by Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, but he is unfortunately traveling, so he won't be able to join us. Instead, I got about 4 Carolina Panther stories that Lonzo and I are going to bounce around. And we'll do that when we come back here in just a minute. 10 o'clock hour, we'll check in, get an update on the Masters leaderboard as we look at Eldrick Tiger Woods out on the range right now, getting warmed up for round number 1 at Augusta. Get you a leaderboard check. And there's a whole lot more, man. A whole lot more. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate.
I'm Chuck Sanders. Here's the sports flash on the Fan Upstate. The Carolina Panthers are reportedly unveiling new uniforms prior to the NFL draft, which starts on April 27th.
Oh, look at that. That's a subject we're talking about coming up.
Bryce Elder gave up 2 hits with 6 strikeouts and 3 walks after being called up from AAA Gwinnett on Tuesday. Jesse Chavez retired the only batter he faced in his first game of the season. The Nationals have lost 5 of 6, falling 7-2 against the Rays on Wednesday. The Texas Rangers beat the Orioles 5-2 on Wednesday. Jacob deGrom got the win, retiring the first 12 batters he faced. He finished with 11 strikeouts. The Yankees doubled up the Phillies 4-2. NHL tonight, the Hurricanes visit the Predators. Carolina's on top of the Metropolitan Division by 3 points over New Jersey. Carolina looking to extend a 3-game lead streak. The Fan Upstate is your home for Furman Paladin sports all year long. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
If you own a small business, you know the value of time. GetRefunds.com does too. That's why they've made it easy, no matter how busy you are, to apply for the Employee Retention Credit, or ERC. Go to GetRefunds.com to get started, and in less than 8 minutes, see if your business qualifies for ERC assistance. Your business may be eligible for a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000.
Yeah, I do kind of want to know where that picture's from, though. And it looks Smoky Mountains.
I don't know what picture you're talking about.
Lonzo's broadcasting so remotely that he's having an impact on the natural environment around him.
Because this payroll tax refund is only available for a limited time. Go to GetRefunds.com. That's GetRefunds.com.
Tens of thousands affected by the toxic water at Camp Lejeune are left with death, cancer, Parkinson's, dementia, birth defects, and other serious illnesses. And along with the harm, so many worries.
My family drank Camp Lejeune water. What if our health gets worse and we need more financial help?
How do I protect my needed benefits and get the compensation I deserve and need?
The answer is simple. Call James Harris Law, the experienced.
Come on, man. This thing is acting up. I can't log back in, so I cannot do the chapters.
Hello, this is one login voice.
Yay.
After the beep, enter the digits you see on the screen, followed by the hash sign.
Call 800-337-6655.
3 by my. Oh, come on. I did it. Work.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Well, I had to convince you.
GetRefunds.com does too. That's why they've made it easy, no matter how busy you are, to apply for the Employee Retention Credit, or
Are you
ERC. Go to GetRefunds.com. In less than 8 minutes, see if your business qualifies for ERC assistance. Your business may be eligible for a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee kept on payroll during COVID-19.
It's the best way to make the most of a situation. That's all I'm saying. And so you got to go to your Zen place. I did, Keegan. But we can't talk about it because,
I've not watched any of it so far. I will get to it. He said, to the belief of no one. I have heard, and this is not going to encourage me to watch or not watch, but very mixed reviews about this season.
Well, whoever they are, they just don't know anything about, good shows. It's been great so far. The effects are good. The story's good. They're on the edge of a Boba Fett chase scene, though, on one episode. It was so close.
Boba Fett, the most overrated character in the history of movies. All right, let's talk some Panther football. Rashad Beard, unfortunately, cannot make it this week. He will return next week. Can't stop us from talking cat ball anyway, so let's do that now. Let's start with this conversation. Hadn't heard it yet. Doesn't shock me. Was glad to hear it. According to reports coming out, obviously the Carolina Panthers did trade up to number 1 overall in this draft, where they will have the pick of the litter between C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, and Will Levis, the 4 quarterbacks considered locks as first-round picks. Hendon Hooker may sneak his way into the back end of the first round as well. But the Chicago Bears were not the only team, according to reports, that the Cats had a conversation with. The Athletic reports that Panthers general manager Scott Fitterer also had discussions with Arizona about moving up to number 3. According to that report, Fitterer had discussions with Arizona at 3 and Seattle at number 5. Of course, Fitterer spent about 20 years in the front office of Seattle. He is close friends with their general manager, John Schneider. But the talks for the 5th overall pick with Seattle never manifested, or at least never really gained any serious traction. And that kind of checks out, to be honest with you, because again, if you're moving up to the top 5, you're only moving up to the top 5 this year for a quarterback. At least from 9, you're only moving up for a QB. And at 5, especially 3-4 weeks ago when all this conversation was happening, there was no guarantee any of those 4 quarterbacks would have made it to 5. Why? Because the big hinge was always going to be Arizona at number 3. Well, according to the same report from The Athletic, the Carolina Panthers did have conversations going on with the Cardinals about switching from 9 up to 3. What that means is that obviously Arizona was at least willing to listen to an argument at trading back from number 3. And if they were willing to listen to an argument to trade back from 3 with Carolina, there are other teams that may have been and may still be interested in moving up to number 3 because Anthony Richardson and Will Levis will both be available in that spot. And there's optimism about both of those guys at the next level. So had Carolina gone to 5, because more than likely, or at least at the time, it did not appear that the Colts would be willing to move back from 4, where they will take a quarterback. Although the Lamar to Indy conversation has picked up quite a bit. If the Panthers would have gone to 5, there was a greater than 0% chance that they could have got screwed, that they could have jumped to 5, then seen Arizona trade back out of 3, and seen Stroud, Young, Richardson, and Levis all off the board 1, 2, 3, 4, leaving Carolina at 5 with no quarterbacks there and having to give up a fistful of picks to get with Seattle. So they jumped straight to Arizona, had the conversation there. And all I'm saying here, Zoe, is I'm glad to hear that they were willing to have that conversation with Arizona just to keep the bases covered, because Chicago was not only talking to Carolina, but I am also glad that they made the jump to 1 to get the pick of the litter. And according to the report we gave you earlier in the week, we're not willing to really eat it by giving up not only DJ Moore, but either Derek Brown or Brian Burns as well to get there. They were able to kind of keep the strong arm of the Chicago Bears in check, get to that 1 spot. You only had to give up DJ and a couple of picks. Long story short, I think the Cats played this whole thing really, really well.
Definitely, because if they would have only been able to go up to 3, that means they're stuck with Richardson or Levis. And whatever their upside is, and yes, Richardson looks good in training camp and at pro day and at the combine. But how do you do on the field? I mean, how many games did Florida win? How many games was he the difference? Because he has to step his game up a whole lot more to be able to be successful in the NFL. Same with Will Levis. The Bryce Young and CJ Stroud are still a gamble, but you got a better shot with one of those guys. I don't know if they couldn't move up to 1, they probably should have stayed where they were.
I still would have gone to 3. And as we've said a number of times, to me, I honestly believe the ceiling for Richardson is higher than it is for Stroud or Young. The ceiling. That's if Anthony Richardson develops well, has a great quarterback coach, is able to catch up to the speed of the league. If he can become a guy who can play at the NFL speed, I think the ceiling is higher just in terms of physical capability for Anthony Richardson than CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. But the risk of him being a complete flameout is also significantly higher than CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. I'd have been fine with the jump to 3 for the drafting of Richardson, with the understanding that it was probably going to push the Carolina has made it talk back another year. I'm just glad to hear they played it out the way that they did, right? I'd be happy with Richardson, but obviously, like everybody else, preferred Stroud or Young, and they made the move necessary to get there. If Chicago was unavailable, or if somebody would have swooped in last moment and offered an offer they couldn't refuse for that number 1 overall, and Carolina went to 3, I'd still be fine with it. But I think that Scott Fitterer played this perfectly.
I'm just glad that we're just speculating on what could have been, and we know what is right now, and that's that Carolina is at number 1.
Correct. Now, let's talk about what they do at number 1. The overwhelming thought for the past couple of weeks since that trade happened was that CJ Stroud was a front runner for pick number 1.
I don't know, but I have never seen it overwhelming. And we look at different sources. I've seen Bryce Young so much to the point of annoyance.
Well,
for me,
allow
anyway.
me to annoy you more.
I don't think you could.
Want to bet?
Not with the kind of day.
Bet
I'm
$1. Fair enough. Okay. Let me specifically on this one topic annoy you more. Mel Kiper Jr., Todd McShay, the 2 draft gurus for ESPN, both have the Carolina Panthers selecting CJ Stroud number 1 overall. But a new voice has entered the arena, ladies and gentlemen, and that voice belongs to longtime NFL insider Chris Mortensen. Mortensen said on SportsCenter, Lonzo, and I quote, "What I'm hearing is that both Mel and Todd are going to have to change their mock drafts and that Bryce Young is the pick. Connecting Frank Reich to CJ Stroud in terms of the prototype of guy he's worked with in the past, yes, but they all love Bryce Young, end quote. Morty is saying that Mel and Todd are wrong, and Mortensen is not saying, I think Bryce Young will be the pick. Mortensen is now saying that Carolina is picking Bryce Young with the number 1 overall pick. Are you more annoyed now, Lonzo?
No.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
No, because, I mean, he don't know.
Mortensen is not a guy traditionally.
He was the guy. Then Schefter came along, and he's been relegated to,
The other guy.
He dropped back a tier.
Yeah, there were like
and
4 or 5 years where we were getting Morty and Sheft commercials, right? Like they were doing the buddy cop thing. And then Shefty got
in
promoted.
fairness, he did get sick. Mortensen got
Yep.
sick for a while, and I think that hurt him as far as being inside more. But he did take a step back when they hired Schefter.
I absolutely think that hurt him. I also think the report we got last year that Shefty for a while was effectively asking the owners, how do you want me to phrase this story
You
for
say
you?
for a while, as if that's changed, as if he said, "Oh no, they found me out. I can't do this
Yeah.
anymore."
Even if so, I'm sure there is to some degree a reason. Now, it still works out for Shefty because he still gets the information. Even if he flowers it up for the league, he's still dropping dimes on us. Mortensen so far has not been proven to be that guy. But that leads us to a kind of a spot now where we haven't really had Mortensen come out in a while and go, no, this is what is happening, right? Mort did not come out and go, I think McShay and Mel are going to be wrong. He came out and said, Mel and Todd are going to have to change their mock drafts. Bryce Young is the pick, end quote. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but he's kind of stating that as a definite here. I find that very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. So, do we think Bryce Young is the pick? Is Morty right? Or is this just a little drama to get some clicks for the ESPN? You be the judge. Let's take a break. Come back after this. Got a bunch more I want to get into. The Bravos, a 6-game roadie to open the year. They come back home 5-1. Opening day at the Battery is tonight. The Braves coming off of a 3-game sweep against the odds-on favorite to win the NL Central, the St. Louis Cardinals. What do we learn? And can the Braves continue the mass streak at the house? We're going to talk about that. Load management in the NBA as we head into the playoffs is back under review as Kyrie and Luka may or may not get sat down to finish the season. Good or bad? We'll talk about that. And, of course, the topic you've all been waiting for, pickleball. All coming up on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Pickleball. Oh, my back just machine gun cracked.
Cool.
No. Oh.
It's a turf war, Steven. That's all. Just a turf war. Things keep moving behind me, and I am older and cannot do the climbing that's required to put things back the way that they have been for a while. And because of that, I'm just finding a different way to cover the background so it doesn't look so plain. Because I'm not going to put myself in danger anymore trying to put the sign back where it needs to go. So, yes, it's just a petty turf war. It's ridiculous. I'm going to lose the war. Doesn't mean I can't fight and find other alternatives.
Trust Bank. We're proud of that. And that's why we focus on helping homeowners prepare for what's next. Our local mortgage bankers have the experience you need and exceptional personal service you'll appreciate. Home Trust Bank is ready to
But if I'm going to do this, I will find some better backgrounds. Right now, I'm just going with the generic that's offered in there. Might even get me a green screen. It's kind of what it looks like if I go out on my front porch, though, except for the mountains, because all I see is trees. I'm sorry you guys get to witness the turf war, but I mean, you know, that's just how it goes. I can change it to the cityscape if you like. I mean, I can do that. This was just my favorite one. And I can disappear.
Cast invisibility.
You can't do that.
Third level.
And I can do this.
Hey, that's me.
And you guys can't do that. You can't do this. I'm not so sure that will be noticed, Stephen, but thank you for the suggestion. Oh, no, I can't do that. That doesn't look right. Can't be in the woods with my hair up.
I agree. I would say again, if you play D&D, it's a different movie for you. If you don't, it's still a fun movie.
It was a really good movie. It was.
It was. Even if you don't play, it's still a fun movie. If you do play, it's just Easter Egg City. Not Easter eggs.
Yeah, they're not hidden. They're right out there. You get to see what you thought something would look like in on the screen.
Yeah. It's like when Transformers dropped. To see like real life Optimus Prime or Jurassic Park. It's just cool. I tell you, the lead guitar in this kind of goes. Kind of shreds a little bit, y'all. Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show goes right now. Welcome back, my friends, to the show that ends at noon. But, time flies when you're making award-winning radio. And we certainly try. Waiting on a reason to bust that red jacket out. It's hanging up there for a reason, y'all. Glad to have you guys. Welcome back to the show. Got a few more things I want to get into on the day. But let us check in on the Masters leaderboard as it stands right now. Got a couple of players that are standing out. As of right now, Mike Weir is up there on the board. He is currently 1 under as he makes the turn at 9. We've got Scott Stallings, an American. He is sitting at 1 under through 7. Adrian Moronk from Poland is currently sitting at 1 under through 4. That is also true of Louis Oosthuizen and Kevin Kistner. They are also 1 under through 4. Mitchell Reed and Thagala are all at 1 under as they head to 3. Kokrak and Gooch are both at even.
There's a radio name right there.
Gooch.
No, Kokrak and Gooch.
Kokrak and
Welcome to Kokrak and Gooch in the morning.
You're home for classic rock and all the fart jokes you can handle. It's Kokrak and the Gooch. He's got to be the Gooch, right?
Yeah, he has to be the Gooch.
The Gooch.
For sure.
Kokrak and the Gooch. Was it, there was a character on Scrubs called the Gooch, if I recall correctly. Scrubs was a great show. Underappreciated show.
I always saw bits and pieces of Scrubs.
Scrubs will go down as one of my favorite sitcoms. Scrubs is up there. The Good Place is up there. Parks and Rec is up there. The Office is up there. What else would I play? I'll tell you, I recently started getting into what's the cop show with Terry Crews? Andy Samberg.
Reno 911.
No.
Yeah.
I love Reno 911, but no.
I thought that's what that was.
That's the old Comedy Central show, which is also hysterical.
I know what you're talking about. I watched the first season of that, and it was just like,
what's it called? Precinct 99 or something?
Brooklyn Nine.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's it. Recently bumped into a couple of episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Pretty funny show. Pretty good stuff. I'm gonna have to go back and start it from the beginning because I jumped in obviously towards the more recent seasons. Terry Crews might be one of my favorite human beings, Lonzo. Terry Crews has every right to be a dude that I can't stand, but he's friggin' hilarious, man. Love Terry Crews in that show. Anyway, recently got into Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Not got into it. I bumped into a couple of episodes and kind of enjoy it. So I may have to go back from the beginning. It may make its way up onto the list. But
by the way, Roger
the
on the stream, I believe it was Kokrak. Not the two things that you said.
Correct.
You're absolutely correct.
Henley's even through 6. Larry Mize even through 4. Sergio is off even through 3. Let's see. Other golfers of note. Oh, no. The wheels are off. Matthew McLean, the amateur, jumped out to a solid 1 under through 4, but is given 2 back and is now 1 over through 7. Double bogeyed 5. And 6. Yeah, I was right. Double bogeyed 6, sent him from 1 under to 1 over in 1 hole. Freddie Couples is 1 over through 6. And VJ is 2 over through 7. Sandy Lyle, 3 over through 6. Kevin Na, 4 over at the turn. That's not going to end well for him. Next groups up include Bubba Watson. Tiger Woods is just a handful of minutes away from teeing off. Xander Schauffele, Victor Hovland, Jason Cantlay, Justin Thomas, John Rahm, Suzuki Matsuyama, Olazabal Schwartzel, and Molinari and DeChambeau are all setting up to get going here in the next handful of minutes. So we'll keep you up to date on that as we roll on the Rob Brown Show, a.k.a. the Weenus and Pitt Show, a.k.a. the Kokrak and the Gooch Show. Let's get away from the Masters. We'll come back to it in a little while as we do multiple leaderboard checks. I am so tired. There's certain topics that keeps they seem to keep
I
finding their
thought you
way.
were about to go Blazing Saddles. I was all for that.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
So tired
I'm
of playing the game.
I'm so tired. God, Blazing Saddles. We're just on a comedy kick right now. All right. Tiger Woods making his way to the tee right now. And again, if you're not in front of a television, y'all, you should be. Because if this is indeed the last stand of Eldrick Tiger Woods at the Masters, I want to see every swing. And even if it's not, even if he does come back and play next year as a multi-time champion exemption-less player, just in case it's his last one, I want every camera pointed at Tiger for every swing. There are certain topics that I get very tired of talking about on the show, yet they keep making themselves unavoidable. And in the NBA, that topic seems to be load management. That is a topic that has become a curse word to a lot of basketball fans. It is a very polarizing topic, and I'll never understand why. An NBA game, any one given NBA game, generally.
Hey Rob, the rest of this hour I'm gonna sit back because I need to manage my load. So
I respect that.
yeah, so I'm gonna be back there. Can you reach over and push the buttons for me?
I respect.
I mean, you know,
I respect the fact that you are going to put yourself through load management. I also love the fact that you just said on the air, going to sit back and manage my load.
that's the load management.
Oh, I get it.
Right?
It's just funny to me because I'm a terrible person. Anyway, load management. I was sitting up last night, very late at night, getting set for a 10:30 p.m. kickoff of the Greenville Triumph in round number 2 of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. A match that, unfortunately, the boys from the GVL dropped 1-0. That is back-to-back defeats with the 1-0 scoreline for the Triumph. Goals will need to be found sooner rather than later. It was a problem for the Triumph last year. It is a problem out of the gate, though they did sign a couple of strikers this year. So hopefully the floodgates will open sooner rather than later. We'll talk soccer later in the week. But I was sitting up last night watching that match, had the old tablet in hand, doing the show prep, and I came across an article written by Baxter Holmes, a senior writer for ESPN. And the article is entitled...
Did he write the Pina Colada song?
Feel like pina colada, boom, 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 boom. Lonzo puts a song in my head once a day. It's a.
Sorry, I was doing the load management thing and I forgot that I was supposed to be back there.
You're not managing your load well.
I got to get back there.
Come on, the Gooch. He wrote an article entitled "Why the NBA's Load Management Problem Might Be Unfixable." And my immediate reaction to that was, again with this. Again. What? People just go looking for reasons to complain. Load management makes sense. Hey, Lonzo, 2 weeks ago, T2 filled in on this show for a week. Why did T2 fill in on this show for a week?
Because I needed to take some time off.
Right. He filled in for this show for a week because the great one was on a very well-deserved, well-earned vacation. Dude, that's load management. You took a week off. You called in an all-star caliber reserve. You called in the Fan Upstate 6-man T2. And you took some time off to get your head right, to get your body right.
You know, I would
You load managed.
I would agree with you if the NBA was 365, but it's not. They have what's called an off season, and during an off season, yeah, they do need to stay in shape, which is on them. I mean, they can come back fat if they want. But so they've got, I don't know, 3-4 months.
You, Glenn Big Baby Davis.
I was thinking about the Pelicans for some reason. I don't know why, but anyway.
You shut your mouth, Lonzo. Shut your mouth.
I'm gonna go back to load management.
Go
now.
load manage. I would make the argument, though I'm not with Lonzo all the time. I highly suspect, that's the word I'm looking for. I highly suspect that Lonzo doesn't quite put his body through the same rigorous tasks that, say, LeBron James does.
If I had the kind of money that LeBron had, I would have my own. What's that thing that he sleeps in? The hyper.
It's not hyperbolic chamber.
I don't know if it's a hyperbolic chamber. It's something like that. He sleeps in something like
now,
that.
LeBron's got that thing that you like. It's got the mirror and you put it on the wall, and it's got the cords that you pull. That I know for a fact, if I tried to hang in my house, would destroy it if I used it. He's got that thing.
The house and you and the mirrors
Yeah.
and yeah, all that stuff.
I suspect that neither Zoe nor I, as immaculate shape as physical specimens that we are in,
Sturdy boys up in here.
sturdy fellas, I suspect that we are not putting our bodies through the same turmoil that an NBA player does. Pick any NBA player. Specifically those that start and play the majority minutes every single night. And this year, actually the last couple of years, the NBA has created back-to-back games, night following night. The first example that Baxter Holmes, a name that would get you beaten up in high school if you had, that the first example that Baxter Holmes used was back in January 20th. The Golden State Warriors headed to Cleveland, Ohio to take on the, at the time, surging Cleveland Cavaliers. The interesting thing about that was they arrived in Cleveland at 2 a.m. They arrived at the team hotel at 3 a.m,
Which is the best time to arrive in Cleveland. I've been there. Trust me.
I suspect the best time to arrive in Cleveland is never.
It's probably never.
Yeah.
But if you have to, that late's the way to
And
go.
the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's there. I got to go there once.
Yeah, I would like to go there.
I got to go there once. Anyway, they arrived in Cleveland at 2
I just walk
a.m.
around and go, okay, that's not rock and roll. That's not rock and roll. Excuse me. Usher, could you come here?
Not
Why,
with that
why are
attitude,
they?
it's not.
Yeah.
2 o'clock in the morning, they get to the airport. 3 o'clock in the morning, they're at the hotel. If they're anything like me, they fell asleep at 5 a.m. And then they woke up the next day. And what they have to do? Go to the gym and play. The night before, at 7 p.m., they were in Boston, Massachusetts. Boston, very famously, is not Cleveland, Ohio. Your sarcasm is noted and not appreciated, Lonzo. So the Golden State Dubs played in Boston, left Boston, got on a flight, arrived in Cleveland at 2 a.m. We're at the hotel at 3 a.m. We're up the next morning, ready to play a game against the surging Cavs. And because of the intensity that the Dubs had against the, at the time, number one team in the East, the Boston Celtics, less than 24 hours before that, Steve Kerr decided to sit Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson, who all logged respectively 43, 37, and 36 minutes of play the night before. And of course, the criticism was levied. What about all of those poor NBA fans who bought a ticket to watch Steph Curry play and then didn't get to because he sat? An NBA game, a sold-out NBA game, has, 23,000 people at it. If you're in Los Angeles, Boston, New York. If you're in New Orleans, it has 18,000 people at it. If you're in, I don't know, Cleveland, it has 17 people at it. Here's my question. If you put yourself into the shoes of Steve Kerr in this situation, what is more important to you? Is it more important to appease 2,000 to 5,000 bandwagon NBA fans in Cleveland who like the Dubs, or to win an NBA championship? Let's play the Rob Brown Show Home Edition. Lonzo, if I made you an NBA coach today, and I said you can pick from one of two objectives, you can either A, make every fan at every game happy, or B, you can win an NBA title as a head coach. Which of those two things would you say was more important to you?
I want to do that thing that everyone does where they can't pick between one thing or another thing. They have to put their own answer in. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with B.
Correct.
Because I'm not going to be like all the people who do that.
Oh, can't stand people who do that.
Yes.
Who would ever have the
Who,
audacity?
who would ever
The
do that?
audacity. The correct answer is you would attempt to win an NBA title, right? Yes, of course.
Then
That's a no-brainer.
say, screw the fans, because I know the fans pay, kind of the fans being there helps and everything, but it's not about them. It's about the individual player and because the player is the product, even though the people in the stands are technically buying the product that you're putting on the court. But, we don't care about the fans. We only care about,
You yourself just said that
Yeah,
if given the
I know.
opportunity of making every fan, I said
No.
every
You
fan
just-
at every game happy or win a title.
You just made me an NBA coach, so I'm thinking like NBA
Right.
coaches think.
Correct.
Screw the fans. It's about my players and winning the
Here's
chip,
the reality.
as the kids say. I think they still say that.
If I win a chip, you know who's going to be happy? All my fans, right? Every Dubs fan's going to be thrilled if Steph and the boys bring home another ring. Every one of them. So I'm going to worry about them, and I'm going to worry about my team. But I get online, and once again, I find a 7,000-word manifesto complaining about load management. Guys, I know that it super duper bums you out that occasionally you turn into an NBA game and you're looking for Steph, Clay, and Dre. Draymond Green's a punk, by the way. You're looking for Steph, Clay, and Dre, and you tune in and none of those three guys are playing. But at the end of the year, you know what you're going to tune in more for? If Steph, Clay, and Dre are playing for an NBA Finals.
I'm just going to say Draymond's going to be your guy when he's just a behind the mic guy, because he's already shown that he's pretty good at that, and he's got good interactions with other people.
Fine. Get his ass off my basketball court, and then I'll be a fan.
Well,
Until he's off my court, no. The guy's a punk.
I wish everyone on Golden State would retire and then the team would fold. But, that's just my opinion.
Which means that when the Golden State Warriors make the NBA Finals again, Lonzo will tune in just to see them get KO'd.
Depends on who they're playing. So shorten the season. Let's throw out the hits here. Shorten the season. You shorten the season, then you're not playing as long, and then you could actually play every game.
Why is the first answer from so many people? You know what I want? Less sports. I want less sport. Who wants less sports?
Your sarcastic tone is just not appreciated.
That's not that. Listen, that is the most genuine thing I've ever said. It's like the people who call in at the end of every college football season.
You're
fewer
being
bowl games. No, you don't. No, you don't. You say you do because you think you're making a point, but you're not. You don't want less sports. We already have to go in the NBA. There's 11 days from the championship until the start of the next regular season. That's too long. All right? Stop complaining about load management. It makes sense, right? JT and Greer texted, Rob, how was the game changed? MJ and guys like that played every game, every season for years without load management. Yes, And Johnny Unitas used to drink beers and throw back ciggies on the sideline during games.
By the way, we're talking about two different sports here.
I understand. My
Just,
point is our understanding and the science behind games and what will bring out the best in an athlete changes all the time.
So you're saying science has made the game worse?
No.
Yeah, because
You're saying
because because science says no, you got to take it easy. Whereas back in the day, drive yourself as hard as you want to prove that you're the best. Now science is saying, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't do that to your body every single week. Take a day off or so.
yes.
Okay, so science has made the game worse.
No.
Yeah, it has.
No.
I mean, you agreed with me.
You are getting
You just-
healthier players later in the season, healthier teams going into the playoffs. That's good for basketball.
So blame science for load management.
Now, JT says something now that I agree with. He said, don't shorten the schedule, put more days off in it. That is correct. I don't understand why the NBA would create a schedule where they have the Warriors play at 7 o'clock in Boston, leave that game, a very physical game, fly to Cleveland, get there at 2 a.m., get to the hotel at 3 a.m., and then have to play the Cavaliers literally 19 hours later. It doesn't make sense. All the NBA would have had to do in that situation is stick an off day in there. The Dubs play Tuesday night. They leave, they fly. They've got a day off in Cleveland Wednesday, and they play Thursday night at the Cavaliers. And then Steph, Clay, and Dre get a day off, get to rest, and they're all available Thursday night. The NBA is pushing its players harder than ever before and then getting upset when they go, dude, maybe like a day off? Maybe like a day off.
You're pushing us too hard. I'm gonna take a day
I will remember
off.
that the next time Lonzo puts in for load management. I mean a week-long
Doesn't
vacation.
work. You can try that. Doesn't work.
Lonzo,
I don't.
is this show better or worse when you're off it?
I'm sure that everyone does a great. You're the host. I'm just so
Lonzo,
another
is this-
another guy comes in and pushes the button.
Okay. Then I'll answer for Lonzo since he just did the thing he said he hates.
Well,
The answer is,
I mean, I
I
don't want
love-
to toot my own horn. Pat myself on the back.
All right, well, you go manage your load. I'll
Do
toot your
this.
horn.
Do the self high five. I mean,
Tim Snow's a wonderful producer. He does a hell of a job every time he's in here. But at the end of the day, the show is worth when Lonzo's not on it. But did anybody, when Lonzo said, I'm going to take an entire week off, go, no, the fans are going to suffer if you do that? No, we said, Lonzo, enjoy your vacation. Enjoy your time off. Go get your head right. Go get your body right. We'll see you in a week. Because
neither one of those things work.
that's
by the way.
normal.
And
That's normal.
you're right. It's a vacation is normal for people who work all year round. And I work 6 days a week all year round. They do not. They have time off. If they worked all year round, you wouldn't hear a peep out of me.
I'll tell you what, every day after the show, Zoe, you and I will go down to the parking lot and throw our bodies into the brick wall building for 40 minutes and then see how we feel about it every day.
Can I throw your body into the brick wall? Why do I gotta throw mine?
A lot of people wish they could. Our buddy Chris Lewis just texted the show, said, the Gooch was a never-seen character in Different Strokes with Gary Coleman back in the day. Lonzo should know that.
I forgot all about that. I knew it sounded
Ah.
familiar. Yeah. Gooch was bad news, though, if I recall.
The Gooch. We're back right after this with Kokrak and the Gooch on the Fan Upstate.
By the way, it's obvious that I would be Gooch and you would be Kokrak, and it's time for the Kokrak back. And then you would have your rant of the day. I mean, this show could be something. When we are relieved of our duties here, we're going somewhere else, and we're being Kokrak and Gooch.
Kokrak and the Gooch. Is the rule when you do Shock Jock Radio that you have to say your show name with a funny accent?
The only shock jock that I know of is what's his name? I can't remember his name.
Howard Stern.
That's him. Yeah, that's the only. I I don't know of any shock jocks in the building. I know you would differ with me, but I don't know of any shock jocks.
Skrilla said tooting horns and managing loads, not made for radio.
It is in the city, which is where I am
Also,
now.
I'd like to point out that Trista Crick, host of BetMGM tonight, which you can hear right here on the Fan Upstate, just said, and I quote, to be the man, you've got to beat the man.
Whoa! I can't whoa. Whoa! Why did you leave that on? Ow. All right.
Offering professional grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest.
Although I probably could eat on the camera, I just have to go back where I disappear.
Hey, it's Rob Brown from the Rob Brown Show. Listen, for the past few years, we've experienced
When my hand is so up.
market like
Ah!
never before. Low interest rates,
Ah!
contingent appreciation, multiple offers, and let's be honest, navigating that market while trying to live your life, it's not easy, right? And while we are returning to a normal market, it can feel anything but normal, and that's why you need to call Allen Tate Realty right now. Allen Tate can help you understand today's market and navigate its challenges. And with changing inventory, market shifts, interest rates, you will absolutely benefit from Allen Tate's knowledge and experience. They will help you price your home correctly and advise you when you can expect to sell. They'll also help you find your next home as well. For more than 65 years, Allen Tate has guided clients through all kinds of markets. So start your home ownership journey today and visit our friends at allentate.com to do it with confidence. Allentate.com. Get moving.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we
The show is so much more fun
believe in all of us.
when I read the text to Vince's show as if they are going to Vincent Kennedy McMahon and not Vince Coakley.
Vince is no longer on the air.
Well, people still text him on the old number. So I just get text about politics to Vince, and I just pretend they're to Vince McMahon, and they get much funnier.
Nothing about Vince is funny right now.
James Webb Telescope discovers oldest known black hole in the universe, a cosmic monster 10 million times heavier than the sun. It should be more massive than the sun.
Go to getrefunds.com to get started, and in less than 8 minutes, see if your business qualifies for ERC assistance. Your business may be eligible for a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee kept on payroll during COVID.
Help!
Getrefunds.com.
Help! Help! Help!
Through the ERC, and they may be able to help your business too. There's no upfront charge either. They don't get paid until your business gets its refund. Many businesses believe they won't qualify for self-income.
Vince is no longer on WRD because our signal now goes up near Charlotte and it's competing with WBT. I hope you heard me. I don't know if you did or not.
I did not because I was reading emails.
I was talking to.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't talking to you.
The state's premier hobby shop has been bringing the best in comics, manga, and gaming to the region for 3 decades. Come see us at our new enormous location at 14 South Westonburg. Live the Borderlands experience for yourself. We have gone to a whole new level. Find us on Facebook and Instagram. Proud sponsors of the Upstate Pulse, Borderlands Comics and Games. Read, build, play. Sponsored by Blindster.com. Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Want to save big on custom plywood blinds, shutters, cellular shades, and more? Check Blindster today and save up to 50% over comparable blinds from brick-and-mortar stores. Get custom blinds at low prices and free shipping at Blindster.com.
Now, CBS Sports Radio.
The radio at 97.7 FM, 1330 AM, Greenville, 97.1 FM, 950 AM, Spartanburg.
Listen on your phone.
I'm gonna ask engineering if they just paint that wall green.
There's a whole lot more to know about sound if you really want to go into
I mean, why not?
Your smart speaker, just say play 97 The Fan Upstate on your HD radio at WFBC HD3. There's just one more thing, and on your computer
The Rob Brown Show's back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. I'm Rod. The great one, Lonzo, on the other side of the metaphorical glass today. The Gilstrap Family Dealerships.com phone line is open for you right now at 844-326-3663. 844-326-3663. You can text us on the text line at 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN. F-A-N. FAN. F-A-N. And we will read them on the air. You can also tweet us at The Rob Brown Show. You can tweet us at Lonzo on Word. You can tweet everybody at The Fan Upstate. Give us a follow at The Fan Upstate on Twitter. Follow Zoe and I at Lonzo on Word and at The Rob Brown Show. So there was a very random event as ESPN did a kind of the Ocho on Sunday. This past Sunday, the so-called fastest growing sport in the United States put together a top 10 performance in both of its key television demos. According to Nielsen Live Plus same-day data, the matchup of four grizzled tennis greats made short work of last week's TV sports lineup, topping no fewer than 79 broadcast and cable telecast amongst members of the targeted 18 to 49 demo. The matchup featured a pair of singles matches and a doubles showdown, pitting Andre Agassi and Andy Roddick against John McEnroe and Michael Chang. But ladies and gentlemen, they were not playing tennis. Nay, friends. They were playing, Lonzo, America's new favorite sport, a sport sweeping the nation. They were playing pickleball.
You know, this looked like it would be fun until you mentioned who's playing now. I mean, people are thinking, I got a shot at this pickleball thing. Wait, what? So this is a game brought about for retired tennis players.
I will tell you that the future brother-in-law is about 10 years younger than me and wildly in shape. All right. He's one of those dudes that like, I'm going to go hike 10 miles. Why? Because I'm bored. And I respect that about him. Right. He goes paddle boarding for funsies. It's a ridiculous workout if you never paddleboarded. I should strive to be more like him, but I like pizza. So he is not only now a pickleball player, Lonzo, he is in a highly competitive pickleball league.
Sweet.
Along with a large number of other players in their mid-20s. This is, yes, it is a sport, frankly, designed to be slower, smaller tennis for those of us that maybe can't get around the court like we used to. But it has actually grown wildly in the entire 18 to 49 demo. According to Nielsen, 35% of the Slam audience from this weekend, the Pickleball Slam Championship, fell in the 18 to 49 set, which is a really good ratio for a Sunday afternoon in April. By comparison, only 15% of the people who watch broadcast TV in primetime are part of that demo. 18 to 49 on a Sunday afternoon represents less than 15% of the total television watching audience. But of that demo, over 1 out of every 3 of them were watching pickleball. So how does that compare to other sports? The Slam drew more viewers than the Bruins versus Blues NHL telecast for 5th place.
Can I interrupt for just a second? I just looked up to see how much pickleball paddles cost.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. There's one for $250. There's one for $138. The lowest one I've found so far is $85.
Mm-hmm.
Dude.
Lonzo, do you want to play pickleball or do you want to win pickleball?
Dude,
Exactly.
For some reason, I thought it wouldn't be that expensive of a here we go. There's some $25.99. That's what I'm talking about.
The Slam blew out spring football in the advertiser coveted demos. It put up strong numbers against the total viewers metric. The event clocked in at just under 2 hours and 30 minutes. It averaged 670,000 viewers. It peaked at just a tick under 800,000 viewers during the concluded doubles match. By way of comparison, the audience for ESPN's lead-out coverage of the XFL's Battlehawks v. Roughnecks game was 502,000. Spring football in the XFL, with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in charge of it, got beat out by pickleball by 25%. Here's my question for you, Zoe. Pickleball outpaced the XFL. It is on target to consistently outpace the USFL. It, over the weekend, outpaced in a similar time slot the NHL. What's the next niche sport that America's going to fall in love with? Because we're going to do pickleball for America's like Rob Brown. We get a hobby, we go ham on that hobby for about 6 to 8 months. Then we get bored and we move on to something else.
Well, here's the thing, and I know for radio purposes, I should come up with something. But if I actually had something, why would I say it here? I'd be investing in it, getting ready to make some cash.
Well, Tom Brady is an owner in the Pickleball League Championship. He has actually started his own pickleball team, as has a handful of other well-known names.
That's why people are watching this, because celebrities are playing it. I mean, if you got the guy down the street or your future brother-in-law playing,
Yep.
chances are people aren't watching.
Do you think if instead of McEnroe v. Agassi, we had, I don't know, well, I was going to come up with the name of the best pickleballer in the country right now, but I don't know who the hell that is. If I gave you a singles match between the number 1 and number 2 ranked pickleballers in the world, promoted it the exact same way as Agassi versus McEnroe, do you think it would turn numbers anywhere close to what it did with those guys in on it?
No.
I don't think so either. I was just blown away that look, even with McEnroe and Agassi playing, is it not ridiculous that it beat straight up head-to-head an NHL game? It kind of feels that way to me. It doesn't really shock me all that much that it beat XFL games, right? The XFL's pretty niche. I'm going to be real with you dudes. I told you at the beginning of the XFL season that I hope it works. I think more football is good. I think more opportunities for players is good. I think it's going to help develop the game and find us some talent that might have otherwise slipped under the NFL radar. Lonzo, I've probably watched 3/4 of XFL football so far. Most of them at the very beginning of the season. I have not been in a spot where the XFL has made the cut so far. Now, in fairness, I didn't go out of my way for pickleball either this Sunday. But
Tiger Pal Rachel has tweeted the show and said, got a whole pickleball set with 2 paddles and 4 balls for $100 on Amazon. Haven't played it yet, though. Where do you play pickleball at? Do you go to your local rec and play it on the tennis courts? I mean, is that what you do?
There are pickleball courts popping up across the country, right? Because they're not real big. You just need a net. You can play it on a tennis court, but you just draw smaller boxes. There's actually, in some communities, some real debates going on right now because people are propping up pickleball courts, like on tennis courts and in wall ball courts and places where people want to play other sports because pickleball has gotten so popular right now. They're popping up everywhere and like causing contention amongst the rec adult sports people. It's fascinating to me because it's not a super compelling game, in my opinion, right? Like with tennis, you got 102 mile an hour serves. You got folks having to lay out, hit behind the back shot, sprint across the court to maybe get there in time. With pickleball, it's like 10 steps from left to right, back to front, and the ball isn't rocketing at people and forcing them to make ridiculously after. That's the point of the game, is it's not high impact.
What's the ball made out of? So it's not even as fast as racquetball? Well, racquetball can be pretty fast.
No. It is literally a low impact, low speed, generic game that is it is meant to be played at a slow pace for people who want to play a game competitively, but maybe can't sprint back and forth.
Sounds like something I could get into when the company retires me.
I mean, honestly, let's be real. I could get into it now. All right. Rob Brown doesn't have the
Can we
the
fit a
lateral
course?
speed he
Can we
used
fit
to.
a course right back there?
Honestly,
I
we could put one out back of the studio and it would fit fine. They're not that big. I'm just shocked that it straight up beat an NHL game.
Maybe we should go out and just take 5 or 6 parking spots and just make one.
Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a moment from right now, we'll wrap up hour number 2. Coming up in the third hour of the show, we got to get a little Braves baseball in here. First home game of the season is this evening at the Battery, Truist Park in Atlanta. We'll take a look at what the Braves just did with a 3-game sweep over an NL odds-on favorite in the St. Louis Cardinals. I got a couple more Panther stories to get into as well. And baseball has seen yet another pitch clock ejection of one of America's most notorious players. Is it getting carried away? Or are we good with how it's being worked? All that and more coming up on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Now I hear that lonely sax in the distance. James, thank you.
NHL tonight, the Hurricanes visit the Predators. Carolina's on top of the Metropolitan Division by 3 points over New Jersey. Carolina looking to extend a 3-game winning streak. The Carolina Panthers are reportedly unveiling new uniforms prior to the NFL draft, which starts on April 27th. The Fan Upstate is your home for Furman Paladin sports all year long. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find
Isn't pickleball just 1%er's paddleball?
You're not denying it.
Term life for you. All you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898.
Benny's back in the city.
Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to put you into a term life policy.
So I was watching some of. I didn't finish AEW last night. Is it just me, or is Keith Lee slowly morphing into Uncle Phil?
We're going to be discussing Keith Lee. So if Uncle Phil was extremely large and dangerous, I gotta say I like the white hair. I do. I think it adds something to him.
No more expense reports or shuffling wrinkled receipts. No more slogging through invoices or getting surprised by unexpected charges. Just your business's
Try that
big
again.
idea with smart spend controls, automation that crushes busy work, and real-time insights so you can make it happen. In other words, Ramp completely reimagined finance to make it work for your business. And set up, issue corporate cards, and start making payments in less than 15 minutes.
Yeah, but not like this, though. I get what you're saying. Keith Lee would make Uncle Phil look skinny.
Welcome to AutoZone. Is your check engine light on? The free Fix Finder service reads your check engine, ABS, and maintenance lights. It even sends a detailed report directly to your email. You need to get back on the road. AutoZone's free Fix Finder service is here. Get the most complete free warning light report backed by technician verified fixes. Only at AutoZone. See details at AutoZone.com.
There's your cap. Better buckle your seatbelts for this one. I saw my passport expired, so I went to Staples, got a passport photo lickety split. While I was there, I grabbed some tiny travel soap and shampoo. I should have got some for my co-pilot. Just kidding, Brad.
Staples has everything you need to travel.
He's not kidding, Brad. You stink, man.
Even personal travel items. And now at Staples, get 20% off your in-store purchase when you buy any travel service. Plus, count Lysol wipes for just $1.99. Get all sets and jet at Staples. Offers and free. In-store only. Exclusions apply.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack.
All this pickleball talk does remind me of, make me think of racquetball in college. I kind of miss
I
that.
used to love racquetball.
You wouldn't want to be in there with me, though. It's going to be some full contact going on. That's all I'm saying.
For the record, that's against the rules of racquetball.
So,
I would call that out. I would. You might beat the hell out of me, but I'd win. No blood, no foul, son. Lonzo's absolutely a no blood, no foul guy.
hey, rub some dirt on it, man.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you know.
Absolutely a no blood, no foul guy.
All right. Rachel says it was 4 paddles. So that means she got them for like $25 a piece.
I would play.
Oh, I'd definitely give it a shot. I'd be winded within 5 minutes probably, but because I still have that problem no matter what I do of trying to do too much. And apparently there are rules, James. Who knew?
Wrapping up hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Want to get a comment from Gino Auriemma in here real quick. We talked about it earlier in the week. Meant to get to it yesterday. Just ran out of time. I was on the BetQL network on Monday night, right before the men's national championship college basketball game. And the guys and gals that were hosting that show, Trista Crick, Quentin Mayo, and Ryan Horvat, were having a conversation about the men's national title game, about the women's national championship. And they said they thought it would be a great idea if the men's and women's Final Four and the men's and women's national championship were played in the same place, right? So Dallas would host both the men's and women's Final Four Friday night. You'd have the women's Final Four Saturday, the men's. Sunday, you'd have the women's championship game Monday, the men's. That way, you could kind of use all the resources to prop up both games at the same time. And I thought, yeah, it's really not the worst idea, right? It's not the worst idea for a couple of reasons. Not the least of which is, it's hard for me to justify traveling halfway across the country for a game or even 3 games, 2 Final Four games in a natty. But if I was traveling across the country for 6 games, 4 Final Four games and 2 natties, all being played under the same roof over a 4-day span, that's the basketball vacation of a lifetime for me. Yeah, that'd be excellent. But guess who disagrees? Arguably the biggest name in college basketball on the women's side, Gino Auriemma. Gino went to the men's Final Four this year as UConn, for the first time in 16 years, was not in the women's Final Four. And Ariyama said, no, the women's tournament needs to stand on its own, right? It's a great event. And he said he felt like if you played it in the same place as the men's, it would almost kind of be admitting defeat, right? He said if you attach it to the men's, what you're basically saying is it doesn't have the oomph to stand on its own two legs. He said, quote, what you're seeing is that if you have your own unique product, it works because it's an alternative. It's not something that's inferior. It's an alternative. If you don't like it, then don't turn the game on. But 6 million people turn it on. It's an alternative. It's a different viewing option. Of course, he said that before we got the numbers for the championship game, which showed that 10 million people turned it on average. At one point spiked up to almost 13 million people who turned it on. But he said the women's game should stand on its own. It should not be offered as an addendum to the men's championship. It should be celebrated as its own event. It's not something that you should go, hey, the men's is happening and also the women are here. It's something that should be propped up as its own sporting event worth watching. And I got to tell you, I actually agree with him. Actually came around. I actually circled back on that. Initially thought, absolutely, play them in the same place, celebrate them both. But I think he's got a great argument here that the women's tournament should be viewed as its own exceptional tournament. This year proved that. And especially now that it's got the momentum that it's got. Hopefully we have the same drama next year. We find a few superstars next year. Caitlin Clark will be back. Hopefully we have the same energy about the women's tournament next year. But since it has the momentum from this year, absolutely, it should be its own event. I appreciate that from Gino Ariyama. I think he won me over. All right. Texter said, pickleball has the same amount of interest as spike ball, casual yard sport that turned professional. Dan the Superfan Man said, many unused tennis courts are being transformed into pickleball courts. It's okay, like wiffle ball. You ever watch professional wiffle ballers? They are insane with the rock. Texter says, doesn't LeBron own a pickleball league as well? I'm just tuning back in. Yeah, LeBron's in, Brady's in. It's gotten big, man. Pickleball sweeping the nation at like 3.4 miles per hour. Let's take a break. Hour number 3 is around the corner. It's the Rob Brown Show. It's the Fan Upstate. All right, yes, be right back. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I hear Robitussin actually works for that, James. It's a good point.
All right, we'll be back in 30 seconds, guys. Twitch. Watch us there as well. All those different ways to get in touch with the radio broadcast this morning. Quick check of the Masters leaderboard. Your guy up on top right now is Adrian Meronk. He is a player out of Poland who is currently at 2 under, standing on the tee box at the 9th. Victor Hovland. What a start for Victor. Victor double birdied. Got the old eagle. On the par 5 second, he is 2 under. Stallings is 1 under, just made the turn. He is through 10. Kistner is 1 under. He is about to tee off on 9 as well. Sergio is 1 under. As is Patrick Reed. Both of those gentlemen are heading to tee box number 7 right now. Keegan Bradley is checked in. He is currently 1 under through 3. Schauffele is 1 under after 2. Young is 1 under. He birdied the first hole, is set to tee off on number 2. Currently at even is Mike Weir, the Canadian A. He is almost to 15, flying through it. And the Gooch is even as he makes the turn. So is Henley. Lowry is even through 5. Abraham Answer right now out of Mexico. Abraham Answer, a young guy I really enjoy watching play, is currently even through 3. Eldrick Tiger Woods is even, currently standing on the fairway at 3 right now. Adam Scott, the Aussie, is currently even. He is set to get to hole number 2. Justin Thomas is even as well. McLean, who opened the day at 1.2 under, but is given a couple back. He is now 1 over. Louis Oosthuizen is 1 over after he ended up with a double bogey on 6. And that is the majority. Freddie Couples is 2 over, making the turn. Larry Mize 2 over on 8. Bubba Watson is 2 over through 4. John Rahm with the double bogey on the first hole. Woof. Number 3 ranked player in the world. Not a great start for him. Vijay Singh just made the turn, bogeyed at number 10. He is 3 over. Kokrak is in the same spot. He went bogey, bogey, bogey on 8, 9, and 10. So Amen Corner not going to treat him well. It doesn't look like he is 3 over. Sandy Lyle is 4 over through 10. And who else? 4 over for Adam Svensson as well. So there's your Masters leaderboard check as it stands right now. We will keep an eye on that, obviously, through the rest of this hour of the show. We'll have a breakdown of the first round on tomorrow's edition of the show and get you set with a full weekend preview of the greatest golf tournament at the most beautiful golf course on planet Earth, ladies and gentlemen. A couple more stories I wanted to get into. Let's start with this. You have heard a couple of times now that the Carolina Panthers are going to be debuting new uniforms right before the start of the NFL draft. They'll be showcasing a slightly different look for the 2023 season. But the rumors that they will be getting rid of the silver on the uniform are not correct. According to a Panthers spokesperson, there will be very, very similar to the current uniform with one major difference. They are updating the blue on the uniform. According to a spokesperson, the new blue scheme is a color correction to the blue that Nike has used on Panthers uniforms since they began designing them back in 2012. Since 2012, Nike has been using a blue on the uniform that is not the color the Panthers wear, which is called process blue. They had a blue that was very similar to the printed blue that you see, for instance, surrounding the letters in the end zone at BOA. Nike has updated their color palette. They now have a Panther blue, a process blue. That blue, along with some very minimal changes, will be made to the uniform this year. The Panthers spokesperson said that in contrast to rumors started by some websites, the Panthers spokesperson said they will not be dropping silver from the uniforms. They have also affirmed that there will not be a logo change. The only change to the uniform itself is that the shoulder stripe will now stop short of going all the way under the armpit area. The stripe will now stop on the front of the shoulder, right where the arm bends, and on the back of the shoulder, right where the arm bends. The reason for that,
just you save money. It makes sense. Why do you need it under the arm anyway?
I agree. I've always kind of been bothered by stripes that, I mean, I don't know. That's a dumb word. I'm not bothered by it.
Plus, it makes the jersey fit weird. It's uncomfortable.
And that is exactly why they are making the change. The change is not being made as an aesthetic change. The change is being made as a design to accommodate, quote, new technology relating to mobility. Effectively, they have decided that if the stripe stops at the front of the arm instead of wrapping under the armpit, that they can put a different seam under there that will allow the arms of the players to be less restricted when they move. Carolina has altered their uniforms very few times since 1995. They have featured silver helmets with white or black jerseys with blue stripes on the shoulder. Since then, in 2002, they added the alternate blue jersey that's only been used a few times since then. Of course, last year, the Panthers wore black helmets for the first time, paired them with black jerseys and black pants. They did so for the Week 10 Thursday night game, which they went on to beat the Atlanta Falcons in that game, if I recall correctly.
I wish they would just go with that uniform all the time.
That all black was dope.
Uniform was sweet.
There's a lot of teams that have gone with an all black. The Jets have gone all black. I'm talking black caps as well. The Saints went all black. The Jets went all black. Who else? There's like one or two other teams that have gone all black. I love the all black. The all black with that Carolina blue is a good look, man. It's a good look. Black, and Atlanta, obviously. I'm talking about teams that don't have black in the color palette have gone all black. Atlanta's gone all black. New Orleans has gone all black. The Jets have gone all black. Carolina's gone all black. I have made the argument many times that, and I'm going to get accused of playing favorites here, I think that the New Orleans Saints all black was a good look. I think Carolina's all black was a better look with the blue. I think the New Orleans Saints all white with the gold helmet and the gold number is the best uniform in the NFL. The all white, we call it the Power Ranger look. The White Ranger look for the Saints, I think, is the best uniform in the NFL. Just my bias. But Carolina's all black with the black helmet, blue logo, blue stripes down the middle of the helmet and around the arm, and the blue stripe down the pant leg is a great look. I would get rid of the blue stripe down the pant leg and just go jet black, all black pants. But blah, 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 all of this to tell you that the concept is not going to change remarkably this year. There were a lot of thoughts. I know Rashad and I talked about it a number of weeks ago off the air, that we thought there was the possibility that Carolina might rock the boat a little bit and that the Panthers might decide to do either an all black look or to change the helmet to a black helmet, but keep the rest of the uniform the same. And that apparently is not going to happen. The Panthers are indeed making minor modifications to the uniforms. They will keep the silver lids. They will keep the silver in the jerseys. The only thing that is changing is that the blue on the uniforms as they stand will be a more accurate representation of the Carolina Panther blue, and that the shoulder stripe will now stop right before it goes under the armpit on both the front and back in the jersey. Outside of that, everything remains the same. So, I know a lot of people were really excited about new unis. I don't think you need them. I really do think Carolina has some of the better looking uniforms in the NFL. I think the Saints all white. I think the Panthers white with silver pants and silver lids is a very good look.
All right, Steven just threw out. Sorry, Rob. The Siberian Bengal look is the best white jersey look in all of football. I like that with the white helmets too.
I didn't love the white helmet.
I did.
I didn't love the white helmet. The white with the stripes just didn't hit for me, and it's subjective. But the white with the stripes on the Bengals didn't hit for me. I like the white jersey. You will always get me with an all white jersey, especially when it's all white with a high contrast color.
I think this is definitely my opinion, but if you go away from orange altogether, it's a good look.
I like the Bengals black with the orange lids. The all black with the orange lids is a good look for them. The all white wasn't bad. I probably would have gone all white and kept the orange helmet. I'd have made the numbers orange. I'd have gone white everything else, and I'd have kept the orange and black tiger stripe helmet. I didn't love the white caps. The Jets all black isn't bad. The Jets all black with that dark Kelly green is a good look. The Eagles, they are getting an extra uniform. Lonzo, the Eagles are bringing back the old 70s Kelly green jerseys and matching hats this year.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were excited about that. I've seen it on some shows, but I never liked that color green. I don't know any Eagles fans that I'm aware of. I wonder if they're all for that.
You know one, his name is Mark Shelley, the seductive voice of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. He's an Eagles guy. And when they announced they were bringing back the classic Kelly greens, he was jacked about it. The Eagles fans love the old Kelly green. And this goes back to a conversation.
I just want to point out, when you had that old color, you didn't win. You won the Super Bowl with the new color. I mean, if you're the superstitious type of person, you'd want to keep with the green you got now.
This goes back to a conversation we were having when we were talking about load management in the NBA in the last hour, right? At the end of the day, if I am a coach, if I'm a GM, if I'm an owner, whatever, there are two fan bases. There's one fan base I care about making happy. My own, right? That's it. That's it. It doesn't benefit me if my team goes to Cleveland and I play my starters and the people bought tickets to the Cavs game are super excited because Steph is playing. That doesn't do anything for me. What does something for me is if I rest those guys against a mid team, get them healthy, get them ready to go when they come back to the house, right? If I'm the Eagles, I don't care if Lonzo, the Chiefs fan, loves my Kelly green. I know the Eagles fans are hype about it. I know the Eagles fans are jacked about it. I know they're going to buy tickets. I know they're going to buy the jerseys. They're going to buy the merch, and they're going to keep watching. That's all I care about. So anyway, Carolina not changing the uniforms, as was reported a few different times by a number of different sources over the offseason. Second and final Panther story for the day. I told you guys that there was one pickup in free agency that the Panthers made this year. One pickup in free agency that I loved more than all the rest. Hayden Hurst, tight end. Why? Because Hayden Hurst is a pass-catching tight end, an above-average edge blocker. I said 2-3 weeks ago when that move got made, I described him as a rookie quarterback's BFF. That is a rookie quarterback's BFF. He is an extra security blanket. He is a guy that gives you an extra and dependable option to get you away from only having the 2 or 3 down the field receivers to look at. He's not only going to help you set the edge on the blind side when you need him to, but when he releases on the route, he shortens up the field for you to make a more accurate throw. I love the pickup. I said he was going to be the quarterback's BFF. Hurst said, quote, "Tight ends are always a quarterback's best friend, especially for a rookie coming in. You want that reliable guy in the middle of the field where your vision is. Obviously, You need the guys on the outside too to make your life easier. But if you can have that reliable guy where you know he's going to be somewhere within 10 yards or going down the middle of the field and just put it up, that's why I came here. End quote. I love that. I love that. That's exactly what I'm looking for. He went on to talk about his time and the reason he decided to sign in Charlotte and said, quote, "It's a really, really cool feeling when you come into your own and figure it out. Just listening to the coaches saying, we've watched your film. We see what you bring to the table. We're excited to have you in the building because it's taken 5 years. I hadn't really been given the opportunity until last year in Cincinnati where they kind of let me be me. You do a lot of soul searching. You try to figure it out. Am I the problem in this situation? Is it me? Is it my skill set? It's really just all about opportunity. I was given that last year in Cincinnati, and it kind of revitalized me and helped me learn who I am. So that's what I'm going to bring here to Carolina," end quote. I love this. I love this for all the reasons Hayden Hurst just told you he loves it. He is a young quarterback's best friend. He is the guy that owns the middle of the field and gives you not just the escape route, not just the last chance opportunity, but a guy that you can just, hey, just get it close, right? Just get it close and let him jump ball for you. I love it. And the fact that he is coming in with this confidence, I told you guys when Carolina signed him that this was going to be the most impactful free agent signing for the Cats. And he's right here telling you, yeah, I am. Yes, I am. And I love that. Let's take a break. When we come back, let's talk a little baseball. Ladies and gentlemen, the Atlanta Braves play their first home game of the season after a 6-game road trip, 3 in D.C., 3 in St. Louis. They come back 5-1 and did something against the Cardinals the other night that tells me this team is going to be carried by offense, and that's a real good thing. We'll talk about that when we come back on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, got a live read. Stay right there. We will be right back.
Holy Easter Sunday. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Lucci's on the fan upstate. Currently,
Sorry about the occasional sound problems. Here's the deal. Rob and I both control the sound. So sometimes one person forgets to do it and then the other one forgets to do it. And we need to be a little more consistent with that. Apologize. I will try to pay more of attention to it. You're right. Should be better.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter
Fight Club.
technology sends you
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
I was doing it anyway.
I know.
I mean, you can go with God. You can go with, I mean, the intro's in there.
So anyway, let's talk Braves baseball.
You never know when it'll be your last time doing something. So I'm doing it.
Oh, tough angle today. Don't worry, everybody. I got it. When do we find out about the red jacket? Later in the year, Steven. Submissions are due in
No, not that much later though. Yeah, they're due in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yes. My plan was to get started on it tomorrow.
Okay.
That could change, and it
We're
may
gonna
have to
go back
wait.
through all of the,
May have to wait till next week.
So thought about it, and I think the best way to hunt to start, the best way to hunt.
I would like to bookend something, but I'll talk to you about that.
Okay.
later.
I'm gonna go look back through all of the podcast clips I posted.
All you gotta do is put in a keyword if you remember what you called it, and it will.
Well, I'm saying
take
I'm
you to
gonna
it.
scroll through all of them because I've got them all saved in one folder for like the
Okay.
last year and 2 years.
Okay. It is time for the Fight Club, where even when the host forgets that the segment exists, we were going to do it anyway because that's how we roll. That's how we roll. That's how we coming into this thing like Vince McMahon taking the headset. That's what we do. I'll take that. I know you just said that.
Move, Paul.
I know, son-in-law, that you just said that nothing's going to change. I'm going to make you into a liar.
Nothing's gonna change except for like
Everything.
8 of the 12 segments in this show.
All right, so we've been talking about this a little bit back and forth. There's no way we could start this segment without talking about the thing that is still trending today, which is Fire Vince or Fire Vince McMahon or Fire McMahon. All those things are all hashtagged if you want to get in on it. Haven't really done that before. Or if you would actually like that to happen, that would be a thing. So had a conversation with the boss down the hall, who's a big time wrestling fan. The boss down the hall, by the way. And he had said the same thing that I said on the air. Night 1 of WrestleMania was a Triple H booked night. Night 2 was all Vince McMahon. And then Raw rolls around and Vince McMahon says, if you were upset about last night, let me do this thing. So according to insiders and sources and all that kind of stuff, was that Vince came in and like after the first segment or two, took the headset from Triple H and took over the show to the point where they were making changes in the middle of the show. And Rob had mentioned earlier in the week about video of showing Seth Rollins being told during a commercial break that he had to change things. And I've seen that video since you mentioned it. And this is,
was I reading too much into it, or was that a fair?
No. That's I agree. And here's the problem. I mean, you make a big sale, put yourself back in power, unquestionable, and then you go and do what you did. It depends on what the new owners think about the product. So somebody else is in charge, takes the product to heights where it's never before seen in recent memory for 7 or 8 months, talking about Triple H being over creative to the point where people are excited for Monday Night Raw again. People have always been kind of excited for SmackDown, but now it was both of them. Excited for both, could not wait to see where storylines that last for years going on and things that were actually able to develop and not just boom, they're gone. Other than Bray Wyatt, but that's a totally different story. Apparently, it's one of those things where if you just purchase a company because it's on fire and then suddenly water is thrown on it right away, you got to look into it. But if you watch the CNBC interview between Vince and the guy over Endeavor, they're buddy. At least they seem to be in the thing. So what is Vince going to be able to get away with? And at what point where you go, you know what? It was a good run. I'm out again. Because a lot of people had stopped watching. A lot of people had lost interest, including Rob, and had just barely watched anymore because of how bad it was. We heading back towards that direction. What's going to happen? And to the point where now I'm dreading watching Friday. I mean, he's already ruined Monday. Can he ruin Friday?
Can he?
No, all right. Will he ruin Friday?
No. That's not even right. When will he? Will we make it out of a segment or two? Will Triple H come out and go, hey, guys, still, seriously, no, it's fine. Everything's the same.
Who know? You know what? Maybe this is a work. Maybe it's going to go downhill for a while. So Triple H can be the face guy again to come out and be the guy against the authority. And soon the evil mustached man will face his day of reckoning in the ring. Not by Triple H because he's got a heart thing, but he'll have a.
No, because Vince very clearly got off the roids and now looks like the 80-year-old man that he is.
He's 77, but still, I mean,
Either way.
Someone they called him that old in the interview, and he pointed out that he's 77.
Yeah, and he's off the roids now. So here's what it comes down to. VKM, as I said 1,000 times before he walked away, and by walked away, I mean was forced out because of multiple allegations of sexual impropriety and assault, of which, by the way, there are zero consequences for Vince McMahon. He got an 8-month vacation, followed by a $9 billion check, followed by his job back. So no consequences.
You forgot the hostile takeover, how he worked his way back in.
Exactly. No consequences for VKM at all. And on top of that, he's right back to the mentality of, you don't know what you want. I know what you want. And I'm not saying that every time you have to give the fans what they want in every single storyline, because sometimes you can use that against them for the sake of long-term booking, something that Vince has never done, right? Like he did his damnness all the way up through the Daniel Bryan storyline, turned out to be one of the greatest storylines in wrestling, did his best to keep not giving us that. And it got to the point where he knew that if Daniel Bryan didn't win that belt at WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans in the Superdome, that it was going to be catastrophe. He got strong-armed by the fans. I am very interested in watching Raw Friday, not because I think it's going to be a great show. I don't. I think last Monday it proved that he's back on the mic and he is now back in charge of calling the shots, and it's going to be bad news. What I am interested in is the fact that Fire Vince has been trending since Monday night. From what I understand, and I have not watched all of this weekend's NXT yet, but during commercial breaks, the crowd at NXT was chanting fire Vince so loud that they had to cut the audio during breaks. I will be very interested knowing that Vince is absolutely the guy that will pipe in fan audio in order to show the reaction on TV he wants, even if he's not getting it. Will the fans organize a fire Vince chant that overwhelms their ability to cover it up? And I really hope the answer is yes. I'm so tired of that guy.
Yeah, me too. And someone else who I'm tired of, and that's Brock Lesnar. I do like I like the hat, good-natured Brock, but he just turned heel again, and nothing says Brock beating up Cody like Vince McMahon saying Brock beat up Cody.
Listen.
And I get the hard times are coming because Brandy Rhodes tweeted that out, which before all this happened. So we're not going to see more than likely Cody versus Roman until next WrestleMania.
Look, I'll boil this down as simple as I was able to make it for me, a simpleton. I got no problem with the thought of making Cody go on a am I good enough quest, right? After the L. Here's the multiple problems I have with it. Problem number one is that there are so many people who have gone up against Roman, got beat by the Usos and Solo, and then they come out the next day and they're like, I wasn't good enough to beat you. Nobody yet has got on a mic and been like, hey, Roman, you know I beat you, but you're a cheap punk Bia who couldn't do it without anybody. Like, Cody just comes out the next day and he's like, you know I had you, but it's okay. Right? No, right? The second problem I have is, and maybe it was just on Monday, we'll find out. You know, I was all in for a Sammy and KO run until KO inevitably turns on Sammy again. Let's go. Not a reference to the Usos. They're just like, hey, we're champs now. We're just done with all that. What? That was the crutch of a story about Jay, but the crutch was them getting to that spot. And then they come out Monday, not one reference to a storyline that's been going on for 18 months now.
Well, you know,
I don't understand.
It's the Raw after WrestleMania. It's time to reset and pretend like some things never existed.
Now, if you're gonna do that, that's fine. But like, what's the point of the Roman thing then, right? Like, either reset the whole thing or continue the whole thing, and then the Brock thing, right? It feels to me, no, it doesn't feel to me. It feels to all of us that enjoy this particular theater, that Vince sits down at Gorilla with a headset, and he's got his computer and laptop in front of him, and he's watching the show on the monitors, and right there on the desk in front of him is a red button that says, in case of boredom, deploy Brock, right? Like, he's just got Brock on speed dial, and if he decides the thing is boring him, he just calls him Brock, right? I got no problem with Cody having to go hard times and question if he's good enough and go on a redemption tour, even if you want to make it so that Roman gets to the 1,000-day mark, which he's obviously going to now. No problem with that. Why Brock? Why was Brock involved in that spot? Why would you not have why not put Cody in a program with Solo Sikoa for a little while, right? Why is Brock the answer there? And the answer is because Vince is a simple-minded dude who has my entertainment in mind and damn everybody else. And we're going right back to where we were before you left. I haven't finished it yet. I thought AEW did an okay show last night for night number one of Vince Reign 2.0. And the announcement that they're going to Wembley is very interesting.
Well, you're jumping ahead because I want to get to NXT first.
Sure.
NXT better than Raw and AEW put together, in my opinion. It's how you reset for the new year. I'm not going to say it was completely flawless, but it's one of the better NXTs I've seen in a long time. What you expect after WrestleMania, you expect stars to come back, which you did. You got Cora Jade coming back. You got Noam Dar coming back. They're showing the new faces that they're going to be bringing in soon. The wrestling was great. At the end, you got a major turn when Braun Breaker turns on Carmelo Hayes, or as some people said, the double turn, because Carmelo suddenly is a face and Braun Breaker is a heel, because it looked like Braun, like usually is the case, when you lose the NXT championship, you're moving up. He still might, But with Vince back in charge, I don't know. I don't know if he moves back up. He may be stuck where he is for now. I really enjoyed NXT. All right, let's get to AEW. AEW had a chance, and it started off strong, and it looked like, okay, they're seeing how the winds are blowing again. This is the things that you need to do. There's one MJF sang. And he sang well. He did. He crooned. It was very well done. I don't know how much practice he had to put in. Did you know he could sing? I mean,
It's MJF. What can't he?
yeah.
do?
Well, and the thing is, I get the style of music probably threw everybody in the AEW crowd off. Like, what is that? Except for the real old people that were there. But I thought that was phenomenal. When the band came out, I was like, why is there a band out here? This doesn't make sense. Then he comes out and starts singing, and it was like, okay.
Well, the answer
All
is
right.
yes, because remember him and Jericho did that. I thought it was going to be terrible, but it was so bad. I loved it segment where they had the dinner dancing song a couple of years back. Then I'm like, oh, this is going to be so bad. And then 45 seconds in, I'm like, this is incredible television.
Oh, it was very good. It was
Incredible
very
television.
so I thought they came out the gate strong with some of this stuff, and the wrestling was really good. They signed Jay White, which is a big deal because the
big deal.
rumors were that he was going to WWE and he did not. And I don't know how they're allowed to show so much Bullet Club stuff, but I mean, I don't know if they own Bullet Club, but they sure threw it up on the banner a bunch. And that was pretty good. And going and destroying Ricky Starks, I think that's a good move because I would like to see that going forward.
Starks v. The leader of the Bullet Club could be a
Juice Robinson,
Yeah.
I believe is his name. Who is it? Is
could
an
be a
odd?
fire
That's
match.
an odd looking backwoods looking dude.
Yep.
I mean, that's a guy you could see in Lawrence County selling something on the side of the road.
All of that, that whole setup could be absolutely fire.
The other thing, Nigel McGuinness being on AEW now. I loved him when he was in NXT.
So did I.
I didn't get to see him wrestling other than clips here and there, but I thought he was really good on commentary. So getting him there to replace Regal, I guess, in a way, we'll see what he does with that. Also, there is the announcement that they're going to Wembley Stadium, which that's a big deal if they can do what they should do and sell that place out. That might be one that I actually will purchase again.
Yeah, that's again, it is absolutely going to depend on the show, the programs they put together between here and there. And if they can sell it out, if you go to Wembley and you sell 50% of the tickets, it's kind of pointless, right? You would have been better. I almost wonder, and we'll find out because they jumped into the deep end. I almost wonder if it wouldn't have been a better idea for AEW to run like a UK tour first, right? Like to run 3, 4, 5 consecutive Dynamites from the UK. You can put them on tape delay, run them on a Tuesday night, run them back on Wednesday, whatever. I kind of wonder if it wouldn't have been a better idea to maybe do a UK tour or a Euro tour and kind of build up the AEW audience. But you do have to remember, the Cons have a very large fan. Well, they have sports teams they own in Europe. Some of the clubs aren't super thrilled with their ownership, but they do have a pretty strong foothold in Europe, similar to the one that they had in Jacksonville when they took off. So they might do okay.
I think I like the idea of going Wembley first because then you're proving something.
Yeah.
If you can do
if
it.
they sell it off and put on a great show, that is absolutely a shot across the bow of the sinking wreckage of WWE.
I do have a negative for AEW, but I'm not going to get there yet. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about AEW wise is All Access. I've watched both episodes so far and I'm liking it. I've never watched like WWE Divas or anything like that. I'm guessing it's akin to that, except it's backstage. What they're trying to do now is they're trying to make Sammy Guevara likable, and I think they've achieved that with me.
Really?
Yes. Him talking about how he used to work at Subway, and they're showing how he did such a good job against Bryan Danielson that he got to do a best 2 out of 3 falls, and Tony Khan come up to him afterwards. They're also showing the Young Bucks on their way back after the suspension and how Rob's chair is going down. It's hilarious. And how they're showing lack of confidence a little bit, and how certain wrestlers will come to them because they're EVPs to talk to them about pushing stuff towards Tony. So you're learning some behind the scenes stuff. How much of it is scripted? How much of it is stuff that they have to do over? I don't know. It seems fairly genuine, and I'm enjoying it. I think it's pretty cool. I think it will help AEW overall, especially with a lot of our friend Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, which there's a lot of it.
Friend of the show, Dr. Britt Baker. I watched a few minutes, and it's just, to me, another reality show.
Second episode's better, by the way.
Maybe, and I may try again. But it just felt like, like you mentioned, it felt like Divas. It felt like,
because they start out with the stuff over Thunder Rosa, but
it feels like a scripted reality show. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just not for me. I'm just going to watch the wrestling show. I don't need to watch more kayfabe off the screen.
But there are people that are really into that, and they could bring them in there, and they may actually become wrestling fans afterwards.
What I was going to say. I got no interest in that, but you know who does? Fiance. She likes the reality shows, right? She's team The Bachelor. She's team 1,000-Pound Sister. She's in for all of those reality shows. I am aware that if I can time it out where she comes home from work and I just happen to be starting a DVR'd edition of AEW behind the scenes or whatever they're calling it, and I can catch her on a storyline that's got some drama behind it away from the wrestling, she's going to watch that. And if I get her watching that, then what does she want to do? Oh, those two had issues and they've got a wrestling match scripted for Wednesday. I should probably tune in and see how that goes, because maybe they shoot fight each other, right? Like I can get her involved.
If she's actually saying shoot fight, then you've got her. You've got her hooked at that point.
If I can get her into all of that stuff with the reality side of it to make her an AEW fan, next time they come a call into Columbia, I'm going.
All right, two things.
I'm going anyway, but
two things: Jericho versus Keith Lee. Looking forward to that because Keith Lee hasn't been getting enough TV time lately, and he will flat out destroy Jericho, or he should. We'll see. Can Keith Lee beat the entire JAS? Because that's what he'll have to do.
Give me Keith Lee versus Jack Hager all day, every day.
Oh yeah. And the thing that got me is they put the belts on FTR. That's fine. They're the most boring wrestling tag team out there. But the problem is, all right, the Guns kept doing things to get disqualified, and the referee wouldn't disqualify them. That becomes a problem, especially in this day and age where people are saying and yes, I know it's scripted, where people are saying the refs are on this team's side and all that kind of stuff. They did 3 or 4 things to try to get disqualified, and they would not do it. The ref didn't do it, and that took me out of the match because so every other match, why is the ref not saying no, we're not disqualifying you? Why is, if it was a no DQ match, that's different. And then at the end, to top it all off, after that horrible match where they did all that stuff, they shoot out the confetti and it completely misses the ring. It just lands on the other side of the ring, which is good because FTR didn't deserve that. They should have moved on somewhere else or did a different storyline. I just did not like it because of the referee.
I'm over here. I haven't made it to the end of the show yet, so I still got some stuff to catch up on. From what I've seen, the first half of the match, because I watched the Greenville Triumph match last night, so I didn't finish it. The first half of the show was good. Wasn't great. Wasn't spectacular. I really wish they would have put time into making that the best show AEW's done in a while, but I also understand they didn't want a hard reboot just because Vince is back. That being said, I hope they really take advantage of this opportunity, because if the door was ever going to open for them to genuinely become a competitor with WWE, Vince coming back was that. But Zoe, I think they got one more chance at it, because when he's gone, WWE gets taken over by Triple H. If they're not in the ballpark at that point, it's over. Back after this to wrap up the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Oh, that's a weird.
Steven said, are you guys off tomorrow? No, we'll be here tomorrow, right? Why would we be off tomorrow? That's right. Nope, I'll be here. Bang, nailed that one. Finally. James, I like this hat.
Texas Rangers beat the Orioles 5-2 on Wednesday. Jacob deGrom got the win, retiring the first 12 batters he faced and finished with 11 strikeouts. The Yankees doubled up the Phillies 4-2. The Fan Upstate is your home for Furman Paladin sports all year long. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
The computer is just, YouTube is just messed up or something. It's just been spinning. Might have lost Wi-Fi. No. Back there.
Oh, gotcha.
Now it's back. It's
Okay.
just weird. It's Jake Hager, man. It's not Jack Swagger anymore. What's wrong with you guys? Oh, I'd love to get a purple hat like that. My wife won't let me wear a bucket hat, though. Plus, it might look like a, what is it, a yarmulke on my head if I put a bucket hat on. I wish I could sound like Godzilla now because I'd let one out, but I can't.
Something special. Don't wait. Go to omahasteaks.com. Use code HOT at checkout and take advantage of this deal. Omaha Steaks is ready to ship your order right away, and you're going to want to hurry because 50% off site-wide is only happening for a limited time. So don't miss your chance to save. Visit omahasteaks.com. Use code HOT at checkout and get an additional $30 off when you shop their semi-annual sale today. Order may be required.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones.
Sorry for spoiling the last match, but oh yeah, Rampage. Yeah.
God, I used to smoke Rampage back in the day.
Love
It
that
was
game.
great.
Last time I was at Dave and Buster's, there's a fire truck.
Yep.
Is that here?
Well, lights aren't on, so I'm assuming
Okay.
we're okay.
Yeah. Last time I was at Dave and Buster's, they've got a stand-up one. And it's a big, huge screen where you can get a couple of people playing. It's still a blast. Who'd you go to though?
The Godzilla dude.
See, I got to go with the King Kong guy. All right, time for a quick Twitter trending topics. I tell Rob what's trending. He tells us why. The first thing that's trending is chicken biscuit.
I don't know why it is trending, but I am going to straight up tell you that Chick-fil-A's honey butter biscuits in the AM are just top tier breakfast
Do
food.
you have to say it that way, honey buddy?
Honey butter biscuits.
Honey butter biscuit.
Sugar honey iced tea. The honey butter biscuits are just top tier morning fast food.
All right, so it is trending because it's one of those things where build your own, but this is build your own Masters breakfast. So what you can buy at the Masters is out there, and one of the things is a $2 chicken biscuit. And most people are skipping this stinking pimento stuff and going straight for the chicken
Yeah,
biscuit.
I'm gonna tell you straight up, pimento cheese is a goat tier snack. It's
Yeah,
top tier.
yes.
It's A+ snack.
No, I think it sounds like top tier 1%er type
No,
stuff.
pimento
Pimento
cheese-
is not that good.
Pimento's not expensive and it's absolutely delightful.
Yeah.
That being said, the first time I get to the Masters, which has not happened yet, it is at the top of the bucket list, those sports items for one Rob Brown. The first time Rob gets to the Masters, I am bringing like $200 in $1 bills, and I'm buying all the food the whole day. Every time I pass by a stand, I want a sweet tea, I want a chicken biscuit, I want an egg salad sandwich, and I want a pimento cheese sandwich. I want one of each every time I pass by a food stand. Can't wait.
I think someone finally will come up to you and go, hey, you've had enough. Okay, that's enough. All right, the next thing that's trending, probably the last thing that's trending, is Cam Newton.
So Cam put out, Lonzo, what I am affectionately referring to as the Communist Manifesto, which is a better joke than any of you are giving it credit for. Cam put out
I knew you were going manifesto because you have to, but the
Communist
communist,
Manifesto's
that,
good, right?
that got me there.
Yeah.
As long as people don't think it's cannabis, you ain't.
You can't say it's not. You see the way he types on Instagram? It might be. The Camifist Manifesto is out. The Communist, that's it. Communist Manifesto is out. The list of quarterbacks that Cam Newton said he would be happy to return and back up. They include Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields, Tua Tagovailoa, C.J. Stroud, and Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Sam Howell, and Deshaun Watson. Said he would come back to back up any of those guys. Granted, only one of them will be in Charlotte, but I do find it incredibly interesting, great one, that Cam listed both potential Panthers quarterbacks as a guy he would be willing to come back, sit behind, and mentor. One more run, one more reunion with Cam Newton.
Can he be a backup? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
He's pretty good for one game.
I would think so. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, children of all ages, that's it for the show today. We'll be back tomorrow with a complete first round leaderboard update. We will have your weekend in sports. We'll get that Braves talk. The Braves home game #1 tonight. We'll break that game down and get you set for the weekend review and more. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. This is the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. Third time is indeed the charm. So I can get a $1.50 sandwich. Just got to pay $450 to get in. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
But the food's cheap.
I mean,
Sounds good to me. All right, guys, y'all are spectacular people. Thanks so much for hanging out with us every day. Tell your friends about us. We want to grow the stream. And we will see you back here tomorrow for a Friday edition of the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Have a lovely day. Goodbye.